what are some of the dangers in Africa, like wildlife? You have
There's not
lions and
not a huge issue because we go via West Africa and Central Africa, so there's not that much wildlife out there. Well, you got buffaloes on the road, so like you gotta like always drive, like keep an eye open for like animals on the road. But there's not too much apart from like cattle. But you gotta always never drive in the night. Like when it's starting to get dark, you have to pull off and find a place because you don't know what there is. Like one example, we're driving and we want to get to a certain city by nightfall. It's like, okay, it's getting dark and the road's a bit rough. We're gonna pull over. It'd be nice to get to that point, but we're not gonna do it. And in the morning we start driving again, and you see the holes that we wouldn't have been able to see in the night. And these holes, they were deep, you know, and like and you wouldn't see them, like just like they just pop up there, and it's like, yeah, you go through them or you go around, and if you're going in the night, you're not prepared for it in any way. So like that's most of the accidents happen in the night, and also when you're driving and it's dark, people carry on walking on the side of the road, right? And plenty of people get knocked over. So and like when we were in Namibia, we were stuck quite a remote area. In Namibia, you can't just camp on the side of the road. It's all fences and everything. So we had to drive a little bit in the night just to get to a campsite. And in that night, there's a lot of game in that area, and there was 2 or 3 animals in the night just in the road. So it's just not safe to go in the night. But most of the animals, they're just like pigs and wildebeest, a few deer, stuff like this. But nothing like dramatic on the road.
What do the passengers? They have. What do they do for the trip, or is there?
Yeah, it's not just like sitting in the back. It's a lot because we're not driving every day. You know, like it's less than half the time that we'll be driving. So we stop plenty of times, and like they get time to go and do things, go see the sights and everything. And then when we are driving, it's just like watching. Like there's plenty of actual scenery to see and people to see, all these sort of things. Like it's pretty impressive. Like it's nice to sit in the back and just look out.
Yeah.
And eventually, when we got down in the southern parts of Africa, then we went to game parks. So you drive around the game parks and then you see game and stuff as well.
Yeah, it must be really a great adventure to see all this.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
It was cool.
And you're going. You're going now again with the truck.
I'm organising a new trip.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to stay here, and I've got my friend who's going to drive the truck for me, and also one of the guys from the last trip. He's going to join and be the courier. So these two are going to take the truck down together, and start in start of January 2015. Yeah, so like 6 months time. And the trip's going to be 6 months down, and it's going to be more or less the same route. This time it's going to go, instead of going to Senegal, it's going to be going via Mali, probably. And more or less the route's going to be the same going down, depending on the visas. Like the hardest part of the trip for Africa is getting the visas and like finding the right roads to go down and dealing with like security issues and dealing with like getting across borders.
Deal with the visas on the borders or here?
No, you have to do it in embassies going down.
Yeah.
Because you can't get any of that visas here in Iceland because they expire.
Yeah.
Like when you get a visa for like Nigeria, it's only valid for 2 months from the date of issue, but it takes like 3.5 months to get there. Yeah. So you can't do it. Yeah. So you have to get it on the way down. And almost every country in Africa, you have to get the visa beforehand. There's like 2 or 3 countries that you can get the visa on the border. Every other one, you have to actually get it, go into the embassies. So that's my job, is organising all this. So I have to get everyone's passports and help everyone fill in the forms in French and all this stuff. And yeah, it's not easy, but like that's part of the job.
Yeah. Did you have any prior experience traveling around Africa before that?
Well, I took this trip before when I
mean
96.
before the 96.
Yeah, 96, 97. Yeah. I did it as a passenger, so like I got some experience, And like I was talking with the driver at the time then, like in '96, like how would I get a job like this? He said there's 2 qualifications for it. You have to have done one trip before, and you have to know how to drive a truck. So that's the main qualification. Like to actually understand how things work out there in Africa, you have to spend a bit of time out there.
Yeah.
And fortunately, I've spent quite a bit out there already.
So tell me about how that is. You know, what is Africa like?
Like it's a lot easier to do stuff than it is in Europe, and then also it's a lot harder. Like there's always ways to get around things, and people are usually a lot more friendly and open to let you do stuff. But also sometimes things get really difficult, and like certain simple things are hard. Like GPS, we want to buy a new GPS because the old one died traveling. It just like shook apart basically. So yeah, everything that you take with you shakes apart. Like everything destroys. Like as in, if you build something on the side of the truck, you want to bolt it together, then you want to weld it on top, then you want to leave it to rust and then paint over the rust. That's how, and then at the end of the trip, it's all shaken apart and it's still barely staying on. You know, like it's constantly like this. So in Ghana, which is quite developed, we had to go get a new GPS because the old one died. And it took like 3 days to find one. Like we went to get a Garmin because they're the best ones for the maps. And like it was so hard. And eventually we found one that was like 3 years out of date. You know, very old model, and like 4 times the price of what you get in Europe. But there's no choice. So, because like normal GPSs, if you just use your phone, it relies on just the phone, most like the phone beacons. What you want is a real GPS that can go for the satellite, and they're hard to find because everyone just uses the phones now. But the places that we drove through, phones don't work. So it was on the border of Congo and DRC.
Yeah. And it was. What did you say?
Yeah,
what was
the
it called?
throttle control it kept stalling. So you have to keep revving it to keep the actual engine ticking over. So it was a throttle control.
Okay, so.
And you do it. So like, so we have to keep stop. Like you have to keep your power going on it, keep revving it to keep the engine going. And we knew that we were going to some very difficult areas. Like this was a start. We'd already been doing some rough areas, but I knew for a fact from research things were going to get a whole lot worse, and we're going to be going like this, and this. So it's okay, we've got to get this fixed. But we were still in a small village, just on the very kind of where the border village is basically. And I was asking around, and there's no mechanic for another 50 k's in the direction we just came from. But some taxi driver came over. It's like, like he just drove taxis, but like he opened it up, found out where it was, got a piece of wire, tied it together, and it worked perfect. It was like new, and like easy enough. And I gave him a couple of bucks, and then. So we're asking, okay, where do we get the stamp for the passport when we're leaving the country? Okay, follow me. And he actually pulled out the stamp, and he was a customs agent as well. It's like,
that's what that looks like.
That's Africa.
Like it was totally unexpected. I wasn't he's a taxi driver. He could do some mechanics and also stamp the passports out of the country. It's like,
It's amazing.
So whenever you had a mechanical issue, everything could be fixed though. That's the good thing with the Bedford. Like
simple.
Because they're so basic.
Like the UJ joint, you know, the thing inside the, what's it called? The little cross thing like this.
U joint.
Yeah, we had to replace this because it was starting to like shake around inside, you know, like was getting falling out. So we went to local scrapyards. Because that's where you find, like you go, that's where you get parts out there. You go to the scrapyard, and it's like hundreds of vehicles all piled up, and like half the parts are new, half the parts are old, and like the vehicles are all there for like, stripping. And we're in Gabon, and they didn't have any Bedfords there. But like eventually, we took the part, eventually going around. We found one part, and I'm not sure if it's from a Renault or a Mercedes or what, but like it fits almost. Like it was like 99% perfect. It just couldn't get one like butterfly clip inside. It's like he just comes over, welds it on, couple of tacks, there, perfect, good as new. Yeah, like
Yeah, there are always solutions if you
yeah.
need to fix them.
Especially if you got an old truck. Like if you took like a new Mercedes, you're not going to make it through as easily. You know, like once the computer chip's broken, you have to post that back to Europe.
Yeah.
You know, you have to send the whole computer back, and also the computers, they get very damaged easily by dust. The sensors don't understand like the different dust levels and just malfunction, and it doesn't want to start. And the computer regulates the fuel going in. If you have it all like this, you can't adjust it yourself, and that's why if you got a Land Cruiser and you want to sell it in Africa, you always get one before, what is it, 86 or something? I'm not sure.
Something like that. Yeah.
Like you always get this because they're worth a whole lot more than the newer ones. Like the old Land Cruisers are worth more because they don't have a computer chip inside. So yeah, like if you can fix it and they can fix it, it's good.